Hello, everybody. Today we discuss the first part of the grammar of lesson 29. So the first thing we'll discuss is the so-called intensive or frequentative. Sometimes it's even called the frequentive. This is a sort of verb form which signifies something done intensively or repeatedly. Now, it's a special conjugation that is very occasionally used to mean that the action of the verb is done very strongly, like in this case, an intensive, or frequently, then frequentative, or that the action signified as severe, or that the state signified is severe, intensive. Again, it is called the intensive or frequentative conjugation, and the medieval Pali grammars do not recognize this as a separate conjugation, classing the forms simply as irregular verbs of the ordinary conjugation, as the formation is a distinct, strong reduplication with special meaning, and derivatives, including adjectives from it, are used with this meaning, distinctly felt. It is worth noticing, distinctly felt, it is worth noticing it separately. Okay, then the usage is few intensives or frequentatives are idiomatic in prose, except for an unusual emphasis, as to say, he is exceedingly stupid. Now, intensives or frequentives are such verbs in English as to cracker, to clatter, or to flutter. In the intensive or frequentative, the inflections are those of the first class, but the root is reduplicated, a sometimes stronger form, always a long syllable, of the root being prefixed. Gutturals reduplicate as palatals. So the roots can be even more complicated. So it is, I think, just the easiest if we pick up these words as we encounter them while reading, since they are not so frequent. Examples from Kam Kamati, Chang Kamati. So Kan Kamati to walk, and then he walks up and down, or he or she walks up and down, and or he or she walks about. All right. Chang Kamant, walking up and down or walking about, and here there is plural from Anukamati. So Anukamati is of course to follow, and then here Anuchankamingsu, they followed up and down. Okay. Regarding the Kalatipati or the conditional, the term conditional is much too wide for this tense and was adopted by philologists on the grounds of comparative morphology, especially like between like comparing it, for example, to ancient Greek. The conditional is rarely used, though it appears regularly when a false or impossible hypothesis in the view of the speaker, and usually of the hearer also, is stated. The third person singular conditional atanopada is also occasionally used and is identical in form with the second person plural parasapada. The conditional parasapada of verbs other than bo, babadi is extremely rare. So the conditional is formed from the future stem and then the inflection of the aorist type, and then we even put the augment in front. Unlike the aorist, the conditional has the augment regularly, except when there is a prefix. So we have here apavissang, if I was, apavissa, if you were, apavissa, if he, she, it was, apavissama, if we were, apavissata, if you were, apavissangsu, if they were. And then we have it in the Atanopada, third person singular, apavissata, if he, she, it was. Same form as second person plural. Okay. Other aorist forms, abinirvat, abinipatisata, if it were produced, would it be produced in interrogative sentences? Utpat upachisata, if it had arisen. Lap alapisata, if it were obtained. Vi ochit ochichisata, if it were cut off. Specific information. With the conditional, it is not usual to introduce the subordinate or the conditional clause with an relative indeclinable. Now, relative indeclinables, we can quickly revise a bit. For example, like such a if, or the short form che if, he for, yata, in this case as, sorry, we missed this one, and also as or that, yato, whence or because, since, yena, wherever, se yata, just as, just like, and yasma, because, since. Going back. The conditional often appears in the main clause as well, otherwise the optative. The subordination of the conditional clause is marked simply by the use of the conditional in one or both clauses, the subordinate coming first. Sometimes the main clause is interrogative, so meaning rhetorical, there being no doubt as to the answer expected. So, for example, Vinyanang bahi vochisata apinuko namarupang apachisata, for he, if were cut off, vochisata, so if consciousness, Vinyanang, were cut off, vochisata, would apachisata, a sentient body, namarupa, so matter plus mind, be produced, apachisata, so then because it's a question, so we have this apinu, this question particle, the interrogative particles. So here the existence of a sentient body depends on the presence of consciousness, and consciousness continues after birth. Hence the sentient body continues. The supposition of the cutting off of consciousness whilst the sentient body continues is therefore regarded as impossible. Olariko chahi potapada ata apavissa rupi, for if your soul were gross material, potapada. So here potapada had suggested that it was, but the Buddha speaks of this as false and convinces him that it is impossible by adducing a consequence. A more complex case with two conjoined main clauses, imaya chakasapa mataya samanyang abavissa dukkadang netang abavissa kalam vachanaya dukkadang samanyang ti sakacha panetang abavissa katung gahapatina antamaso kumbadasya piti. So if kasapa, only to this degree, imaya chamataya, asceticism were a hard task, samanyang dukkadang, it would not be proper na abavissa kalang to say this, vachanaya etang. So for saying this, or for the saying of this, dukkadang samanyang ti, asceticism samanyang is a hard task. Moreover, chapana, it would be abavissa possible, saka, for a householder gahapatina, even antamaso, a pot-carrying slave girl, kumbadasya, to do this, katum etang. Conditional in hypothetical events. The conditional is also used in speaking of a hypothetical event which did not in fact take place. The system of using the tenses is thus: if the condition and its result are purely hypothetical, the optative is used. If true, the indicative, present or future. If false, the conditional. In simply denying the possibility of something, however, without positing it as a condition with a result, a speaker may use netang tanang vichati yang. Literally, this place is not possible, this place is not found, meaning it's not possible that with the optative or sak negated or an infinite form of such as akaraniya or abappa or nasaka, like not possible, not to be done, not to be. All right. Today until here. Punadasanaya Tavapaveya Subham Mangalam.